Welcome to the explainer. What does it actually look like when a single company finds itself at the dead center of a global tech revolution? Well, we're about to find out because today we are diving deep into NVIDIA's latest earnings report, and spoiler alerts, the numbers are absolutely mind-blowing.
All right, but before we get into the really good stuff, just the standard heads up. This is all for informational purposes, just breaking it down. It is not investment advice. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get to it.
So let's just start with the headline, the one number that tells you pretty much everything you need to know. $57 billion. And that's not for a year. That's their revenue for a single quarter. Just incredible. Okay, a number that big is honestly hard to even comprehend. So let's put it in context. We need to break down just how insane this growth really is, because we're not talking about a good quarter here. This is historic stuff. So that $57 billion, that represents a 62% jump in revenue from this same time last year. Let me say that again, 62%. That's not just growth. For a company this size, that is a full-blown explosion. And you might think, okay, that's a great year-over-year number. But get this, the momentum is actually speeding up. We're talking a 22% jump from last quarter. So this thing isn't just growing, it's accelerating. The demand is just compounding on itself. So how does NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, put it? He calls it a virtuous cycle. I love that phrase. He paints this picture of an AI ecosystem that's just scaling like crazy. His words, AI is going everywhere, doing everything all at once. It's not coming, it's already here. Okay, so where is all this cash actually coming from? What's the engine behind this rocket ship? Well, it really boils down to one single part of their business. And here it is, the data center business. Take that $57 billion total we talked about. Well, $51.2 billion of it came from right here. Just think about that. The vast majority is coming from one place.
And this chart, wow. This really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? I mean, look at that. The data center bar doesn't just lead, it completely, totally dwarfs everything else. It's like the sun and the other divisions are just planets orbiting around it. It's not even close. So what's powering this data center engine? It's their newest platform called Blackwell. And sales are, and this is a quote, off the charts. Why? Because it's a monster leap in efficiency. We're talking 10 times the performance for the same amount of power. So for companies buying these, it's a no-brainer. They can build way more powerful AI way faster and for less money. It's a total game changer. But look, this story is bigger than just selling a ton of amazing chips. What NVIDIA is really doing is building the entire foundation for the entire AI universe. Think of it like this. We're in the middle of a massive AI gold rush, right? And NVIDIA, they're the ones selling all the picks and shovels. So the big question is, who are the miners? Who's buying all this gear to go digging for AI gold? And the list of customers is, it's basically a who's who of the entire tech industry. You've got the AI trailblazers like OpenAI and Anthropic. You've got the cloud titans, Microsoft, Google. I mean, pretty much any major player you can think of is building their AI future on top of NVIDIA's tech. And it goes way beyond just companies. We're talking about entire nations. NVIDIA is literally partnering with countries to build their national AI infrastructure. They're powering the next generation of supercomputers all over the globe. The scale is just immense. Okay, so the data center is obviously the main event, but it's not the whole story. Let's not forget about the other parts of NVIDIA's business because they're still massive businesses all by themselves. So here's a quick look at those other markets. Gaming, which is kind of where it all started for them, is still an absolute giant, pulling in over $4 billion. Then you've got professional visualization, think Hollywood special effects or architectural design, and their automotive business, which is getting really interesting. And what's cool here is you see two totally different stories playing out. On one hand, you've got the huge established gaming market, which is still growing by a very healthy 30%. But then you have this smaller, strategic automotive business. It's not as big, but it's actually growing even faster at 32% as they partner with companies like Uber to build the brains for self-driving cars. So after a quarter that just completely blows every expectation out of the water, you have to ask, right? What's next? I mean, how can they possibly keep this up? Well, you're looking at the answer. Their own forecast for the next quarter is $65 billion. So not only is it continuing, they expect it to get even bigger. The train is not slowing down.
And that kind of leaves us with a huge final thought. NVIDIA isn't just part of the AI revolution, they're building the entire infrastructure for it. The roads, the bridges, the power plants. So you have to wonder, what does a future look like when it's built so heavily on one company's technology? What does that mean for competition, for innovation, and ultimately for you and me?